Before I get started, this video is incredibly late because of some personal developments that happened and delayed the making of it. But that's something that'll get brought up as I go along the video because these developments happened as I was writing the script. So if it feels like some of this is off the cuff, well, it is. Sorry. But hello, my name is Minerva, aka Party Demon S, and I am a VTuber and full-time content creator, which means I am a full-time problem. Here we go. Fanfest! Vegas, the city of lights, the entertainment capital of the world. Now, as a VTuber, it's nature that I don't go outside too often, let alone fly across the country for something minuscule. So it would have to be something super important, right? Surely. Enter Final Fantasy XIV Fanfest. As a player of the game, off and on since Heaven's Word, and fully getting into it by the time Shadowbringers rolled around, I'd been aching to go for years now. And after the pandemic kicked everything into a purely digital-only state, well, 2023 was the year to shoot for it.
Miss Party Demoness, I'm new here. What's a fan fest?
Well, sit down, Timberly, and I'll tell you! Final Fantasy XIV Fanfest is a celebration of all things Eorzea and the wonderful community who call it home. Full of cosplay, people trading stickers of their beloved warriors of light, and making new friends in the community. Laughs are had recalling accidental mob pulls, and tears are shed reminiscing on the main story. It's the place where the hype for the beloved MMORPG is brought full circle as its attendees get to learn new info about the game's future patches and expansions, and do various activities, but we'll get to that in a bit. This is Redclaw. He's a pretty cool dude. Now, here's the thing. I dragged him into playing this game. He went from Sprout to being caught up in about a year. And so, here we are, in Vegas, ready for FanFest. He doesn't know what to expect. I'm excited. And oh man, did Vegas kick the crap out of us. We decided to get a nice room at the Excalibur, and that's fine. That's all well and dandy, because we were told, oh hey, it's not too far from the monorail. You were wrong. To get to the monorail from the Excalibur, you have to go all the way through the Excalibur, go across the walkways to New York, New York, walk through New York, New York, go across another walkway, and make it to the MGM. And then go down into the underground of the MGM to find the monorail. Now here's the thing. All these places are like the size of a fucking mall. So we are in the underground. The underground. Which is, honestly, that's a pretty sick name.
Yeah, it's actually pretty cool.
It's actually pretty cool. This whole trip is making me thinking of rebranding entirely. I'm not gonna lie.
A
A whole rebrand. I'm gonna become a Vegas gremlin.
A Vegas gremlin.
It's me. Oh, yeah. I thank the gods for the escalators every day. Save me.
Sick. Not dead yet.
Yet. I like that Twitter is betting if you're gonna get me killed.
I'm going to do my best to win big on that one.
In Vegas fashion. Yeah. Let's go. Oh, there's Arizote. I didn't even notice he was on there. And Thacred. Oh, the other one has Yushola and the twins on it. This one has... Okay.
I think they're on both sides.
Okay, yeah. Well, I guess we're getting in on Urianje. Sorry.
Minerva, what does this have to do with Fanfest?
Don't worry, I'm getting to it. So then you get to the monorail, and then you have about 10, 15 minutes of like standing or sitting around, preferably, before you get to your stop. Now, the convention was being held in the North Hall. The stop is in the South Hall. So you still have to get out and walk about a block's worth of parking lot to get to the north part. I would like to also mention that it was 115 degrees during that weekend. And so that brings us to our many activities, one of them being standing in lines. Oh yes, lines to get inside, lines standing around for merch, lines to go to the battle challenge, lines everywhere. Oh Lord, we scooting our boots. Yes, the first day of the convention was sloppy. There were lines for lines, and some of the lines were created by people simply standing around and thinking it was an actual line for something. The lines were a problem. It got so bad in some places, like the food lines in the main showroom had completely entangled into a mass of confusion. The only way you could find your place was to fucking pray. So earlier when I had mentioned all of that walking that we were doing and then having to stand in line multiple times for many hours in the day, yeah, I was not doing so well. I wasn't doing so hot. The keynote was backed up from wall to wall with not nearly enough chairs for the attendees. People were sitting on the floor, standing against whatever they could, or if you were like me, desperately trying to get comfortable, which was nearly impossible because I have a bum leg. Now, this wouldn't nearly be a problem if, the keynote wasn't an hour and a half and the room wasn't packed with almost 20,000 people. It's fine. It's not like a bunch of them had BO or anything, or were standing in front of other people completely blocking the aisles, even though, they clearly said multiple times not to fucking do that.
Man, you make it sound like it was miserable and you hated it.
I was miserable, but no, I didn't hate it. I walked nearly 10 miles in total during that trip. I stood in line for nearly 2 hours just to get registered, an hour and a half to buy merch, and spend too much money on it, but I was having a good time because I was hanging out with one of my best friends and I got to soak in all of the fun in the con. And day 2 was significantly better. They had actually figured out a lot of the line situations and things went a lot smoother.
So what actually happened at FanFest then?
Well, we had the keynote, and if you want to find out what happened that well, there's already a ton of videos on it. I was still in Vegas a couple of days after everything went down, so I'm already super late to that. Go ahead, there are plenty of them out there on YouTube. Just look up keynote. Look up Final Fantasy FanFest keynote. You'll find it. But there were panels. A panel in particular that I enjoyed was the translation panel that they were holding. They talk about how much work went in from start to finish. It's very informative. And at the end, they did this funny little thing where they had the audience help name a fish and give it facts. This fish is an apex predator, only swims left, and its name is All Right, All Right, All Right. We are cruel gods. And there was the PvP tournament finals, which we weirdly got into. It was kind of wild. We sat down to eat food and watch, and we got super engrossed in it. It was kind of bonkers. And I was very sad that John Dark Souls got killed a lot. R.I.P. John Dark Souls. There was the battle challenge. You fight a new boss, win, and you get a shirt that says you survived. I didn't get to do this because I was too busy standing in the merch line because there was definitely not enough time in the day to do both. Because when you got into the merch line, you got to a certain point where they would give you a little card to say to come back later. It was kind of like a fast pass. It was weird. It was wild. It was like a Disney fast pass, except for merch. There were quests you could do. You could wander on up to one of the various gleaners on the main showroom floor, and they'd give you a little quest. It was really cute. They'd bring you to the set pieces that were based on the various locations in Endwalker, and each one was crafted with a lot of love and care. And yes, they had lines too. There also looked like there was a line to check out some Final Fantasy XIV themed PCs and try and win one, but I wasn't about to try and fuck around with that because my luck is abhorrently bad. And of course, there were the piano performances and the Primals concerts, but we weren't allowed to record footage of that. It's a bummer, but it fucking rocked though. That's all I'm saying. I did miss the piano concert. I'm a little bummed about that, but I was in just too much pain to stick around and try and watch it. I just was not in the right shape for it. Which sucks because I was really looking forward to it. But let's be real here, and I may be a bit biased. The cosplayers were the stars of the show here. Year after year, a slew of incredibly skilled and talented folks come out of the woodwork, and goddamn, do they look good doing it. However, I do not envy the fact that they were doing this in the heat. But goddamn, did they look good. And yes, while everything could have gone a lot better, they could have gone a hell of a lot worse. And by that, I mean they did. A lot of people went home with COVID. I'm one of them. And that is why this video took as long as it did. Because as soon as I got home, oh man, it was not great. And not even a full week later did someone decide to post a 10-page comic about how they had gotten COVID and went to Fanfest anyway because they thought that it was just seasonal allergies or thinking that the Vegas air wasn't agreeing with them. Yup! Despite the fact that Fanfest had a lot more downs than ups, I'm still very glad that I went. And I don't want anyone to feel like their criticisms are invalidated because of this video or anything. Like, yes, Fanfest was absolutely a disaster. But this trip was a huge step for me as a person. I conquered my fear of flying, I got to meet some of my best friends, and when you're at the bottom, you can really only go up from here. So here's hoping that 2024 is a little bit better. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. I'm not usually used to making videos like this, but I want to do more of it in the future. So hey, if you liked it, give me a nice little thumbs up or whatever the heck, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much to my following patrons. I love you very much. Thank you for the support. Bye-bye.